Congressman Brad Wenstrup joins me now. Congressman, where do the Republicans stand on Israel's war with Hamas?
Well, I think we stand with Israel, and they certainly have every reason to be at war. If you just look at what we have had the opportunity to see of what took place on October 7th, with Hamas really having the mission of genocide of all Jews. They're born and raised with it. It doesn't mean every Palestinian feels that way, but that's the feeling of Hamas. So the reaction from Israel is that they are at war. They are at war with Hamas, and they feel that they need to go on to victory. Now, what happened with those aid workers, et cetera, is sad. And Netanyahu has come out and said, we made a mistake. I don't know if it's an intelligence failure or if someone just put the sights on the wrong place. That does need to be determined, and it does need to come out swiftly. And the good news is he's admitted that it was a mistake. But they're fighting a war right now that Hamas does not seem to want to surrender. They could be releasing hostages. They could be doing things that would put an end to this. There was a ceasefire before October 7th, so calling for a ceasefire is almost kind of ironic to me. When they ask for that, because Hamas refuses to go that route. And Hamas is using civilians as their shield. And that, to me, is almost a war crime in my mind. So there's a lot of moving parts of this, but we do support Israel. We don't support when mistakes are made, but that happens in war, unfortunately, and we can't ignore it.
The Republicans support Israel. The Democrats are split on that issue. Change the subject. You're the chair of the House COVID subcommittee, and in the future you're going to be talking to Science Journal editors, I understand. Are you going to ask them about the Wuhan lab and where COVID started?
Well, they certainly should want to weigh in on this, because they published articles that seem to want to ignore it. And let's just be clear, a published article doesn't mean that it's been peer reviewed and that it's been going through the scrutiny that it should take from scientists. You just look at Proximal Origins, which was published. And we're bringing in people from Science Magazine, Nature Magazine, The Lancet. At least we've invited them. And we want some answers to this, and we want the American people to understand that something published doesn't mean it's right.
Congressman, can I just jump in for a second? Forgive me for interrupting you. I do apologize for that.
No problem.
But it seems to me that COVID and our reaction to it was a public health policy disaster. Now, am I going too far? Would you agree with that?
No, I would say that's completely true. If you look at what happened when anybody had the hypothesis of it being a lab leak theory or hypothesis, they were scrutinized, they were canceled, they were put down. Yeah. You had the Lancet or Nature Magazine publishing Proximal Origins. Proximal Origins basically was written by people that were prompted to write it by Dr. Fauci, and all they really talked about was the possibility of it came from nature. If you read this article, it's full of assumptions and what ifs, and it completely ignores the lab leak theory. And internally in their discussions, the same authors are saying, well, we can't rule out that this came from a lab. It certainly looks engineered. So there's a problem with using these scientific journals as a be-all, end-all. And was the government, our federal government, or our public health officials involved with it?
Just got to get to the bottom of it. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.